You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Thursday, February 12th. I'm Maria Lizignoli.
And I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know.
Our top story today. Operation Metro Surge is ending in Minnesota, and the federal government's flood of federal agents into Minnesota has concluded. That's according to White House Border Czar Tom Homan, who confirmed this in an early morning press conference. Our Frankie McLister was there.
Homan said that Minnesota is now less of a sanctuary for criminals, all due to this, and it was an operation, as we know, that lasted a little over 2 months. Let's go ahead and cover some of it in detail, what he said. Now, at the presser, he said over 4,000 were arrested in the operation, which began in early December, as I mentioned. He admitted that all of those weren't necessarily threats to the public. Now, in his statement, he thanked many state and city leaders for their collaboration and said, which he said before, that they definitely all don't agree on everything. But even with the wider operation ending, federal personnel assigned to conduct criminal investigations into agitators and ones that he says were assigned for fraud investigations will remain here.
ICE has had an office here for decades. Before it was called INS, Immigration Naturalization Service. This footprint will remain here, and they'll continue to do immigration enforcement here. But as President Trump has said from day one, we're going to prioritize the public safety threats.
Now, going forward, the drawdown of federal agents will continue on throughout the next week. There's a small footprint of personnel that he says will also remain right here in the state as just they transition and send agents back to prospective offices. He did add, and I want to mention, that this does not necessarily mean immigration enforcement is done right here in the state of Minnesota and nationwide.
Let's take a look back at how we got here. The operation began on December 1st after Minnesota fraud cases and accusations came into the national spotlight. On January 5th, the Trump administration sent 2,000 additional agents to the Twin Cities. 2 days later, an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good. On January 15th, an ICE officer shot a man in the leg during an alleged shovel attack. On January 24th, Border Patrol agents shot and killed Alex Preddy. 2 days later, we learned Border Czar Tom Homan would take over the operation. Last Wednesday, Homan announced a drawdown of 700 federal agents. And today, again, he announced that Operation Metro Surge is coming to an end.
Number 2, Governor Tim Walz says he's cautiously optimistic about the end of the surge of immigration agents in the state, but also said it will take time for the state to rebuild and move forward.
But the fact of the matter is, they left us with deep damage, generational trauma. They left us with economic ruin in some cases. They left us with many unanswered questions. Where are our children? Where and what is the process of the investigations into those that were responsible for the deaths of Renee and Alex? So while the federal government may move on to whatever next thing they want to do, the state of Minnesota and our administration is unwaveringly focused on the recovery of what they did.
As part of that recovery, the governor wants lawmakers to pass a package of $10 million worth of zero-interest forgivable loans to help small businesses hurt during the surge. The legislative session kicks off Tuesday, where lawmakers will consider that and a number of other ICE-related proposals.
Number 3, at the same time Border Czar Tom Homan was making his big announcement this morning, there was a high-stakes and high-drama hearing on Capitol Hill about this very topic. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, Department of Corrections Commissioner Paul Schnell, as well as state Republican lawmaker Harry Niska testified this morning at the Senate Homeland Security hearing. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer also gave a statement. The hours-long hearing was full of back and forths about Minnesota laws related to undocumented immigrants, plus cooperation, or lack thereof, between federal agents and local law enforcement. Republicans on the committee also came out swinging against the Attorney General about fraud. Here's Missouri Senator Josh Hawley.
Are you familiar with the $9 billion in historic fraud out of your state, including the $250 million in the Feeding Our Future program alone? You familiar with that? Don't turn to the pages in your book to get your potted answers. Are you familiar with it? Yes or no?
Yes, I am familiar with it.
Very familiar, aren't you? Because the people who ran the Feeding Our Futures program came to you in your official office in the state capitol December 11th, 2021.
After that hearing, the heads of ICE, Border Patrol, and U.S. Immigration and Citizenship Services appeared before the committee and answered tough questions about the use of force.
Number 4, House Democrats held a similar hearing today calling for accountability for ICE actions. Among those testifying and asking questions was Mendota Heights Police Chief Kelly McCarthy. She told lawmakers her department is in a no-win situation. She said they're getting hundreds of calls regarding ICE agents, masked men, kidnappings, and even erratic driving. She talked about having to divert their resources because of it.
The mission and duties of HSI are vital to our nation's security, and we have a good working partnership with them in the past. But we have to acknowledge that the tactics being used by some ICE agents during Operation Metro Surge are straining those partnerships, reducing the public's trust in local police, making our jobs harder, and making us all less safe.
House Democrats also called for consequences for Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller in the wake of their reactions to the ICE shootings in Minneapolis. Those are your 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our next weather forecast.
Hey guys, 6 Weather Meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in with the forecast here. Quiet and mild. Those are the main 2 focuses of our forecast as we head through the rest of the work week and into the upcoming weekend. We head through this evening. Temperatures aren't going to fall too much. They'll fall through the 30s and only get down to about 30 degrees overnight tonight with just a few passing clouds. Usually we find our lows in the teens, lower teens this time of year. Tomorrow we're going to enjoy more sunshine after maybe a couple of morning clouds. It's going to get us into the upper 40s for our highs. We'll enjoy some of that afternoon sunshine as we get into the start of the weekend. We're talking high temperatures Saturday right around 50.
And now, here's more to know.
The search for a missing woman in Fargo is being treated as a murder investigation. According to Fargo police, Isadora Wengel has been missing since December 31st. Police are treating this as a murder investigation and have arrested a man for murder and tampering with evidence. Yesterday, police posted to social media asking for your help to find a storage tote they believe is potential missing evidence in the case. They say it could be anywhere in the area between the Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo metro area and Otter Tail County here in Minnesota. If you have any information, call police.
Senate lawmakers are now considering a bill to add strict voting requirements. The House passed the Save America Act yesterday. The bill would require proof of citizenship, like a passport or a birth certificate, to register to vote in federal elections. It would also require a photo ID to cast your ballot. Minnesota's Republican House members unanimously supported the bill, but all Democrats voted against it. Minnesota election leader Steve Simon urged Congress to vote against the bill, saying it would, quote, effectively end online voter registration and drastically reduce the availability of mail-in voting.
Next Tuesday, Minnesota lawmakers will be back at the state capitol for the start of the 2026 legislative session. Things will look a little different in the wake of lawmaker shootings last summer. There are now new weapons screenings at the Capitol entrances. The legislature will honor their colleague, former House Speaker Melissa Hortman, on the first day of session. When it comes to power in the legislature, Democrats have control in the Senate and governor's office, but the House is tied. That means Democrats will be stunted without bipartisan support. The current 2-year budget is already enacted. However, worry over federal funding cuts could lead to more tough decisions, as the state is already dealing with a looming budget deficit in the future.
An AI camera is catching distracted drivers by the hundreds. It's a problem the state and community members have been working on for years along Highway 7 between St. Louis Park and St. Bonifacius. In 2024 alone, Highway 7 saw at least 5 fatal crashes. That's according to South Lake Minnetonka Police. The Highway 7 Safety Coalition received a more than $400,000 grant from the state of Minnesota, part of which is for paying for AI cameras that can recognize when drivers are on their phones. As the camera's been positioned along various spots on the highway, it's helped conduct 1,200 distracted driving stops. Before the camera, that number was just 300. And in addition to 0 deaths, the number of serious injury crashes has been cut in half. Here's what Adam Moore, a patrol sergeant with the South Lake Minnetonka Police Department, has to say.
The numbers are great, and be able to say, yes, we made a difference. I'm proud of that. But really, just being able to say, I know that we saved lives out here by the work that we did. And you can't put a price tag on that.
Now Moore, who you just heard from, is hoping to receive a national grant next month so the camera can stay up. The technology doesn't come cheap. Moore says it costs roughly $15,000 a month to lease it.
To some health news now. Minnesota is at the epicenter of the nation's largest known outbreak of sexually transmitted ringworm, according to health officials. TM7 is a sexually transmitted fungal skin infection that can cause severe ringworm. It's the only known fungal-based sexually transmitted disease, according to the Minnesota Department of Health. The good news is it is treatable with oral antifungals. In the Twin Cities area, there are more than 30 confirmed or suspected cases, according to MDH. There are other cases scattered in larger U.S. cities as well. It's most prevalent among men who have sex with men.
Maria, let's get to sports. The U.S. men's Olympic team begins their hockey tournament today. They have an afternoon matchup versus Latvia, and 3 Minnesota Wild players are on the team: Matt Boldy, Quinn Hughes, and Minnesota native Brock Faber. The women play tomorrow in a quarterfinal versus Italy. St. Paul native Jessie Diggins won a bronze medal today in cross-country skiing. This was the 3rd straight Olympics where Diggins medaled, and of course, she's a St. Paul native. She's announced that this season will be her last.
And she struggled through the end of this cross-country run to get the bronze medal. She was having pain in her ribs, and if you watch the video, you can see how much pain she's in, but hey, she got it.
Legend.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
Sticking with U.S. Olympic skiers, Olympic gold medalist Breezy Johnson will be coming home from Italy with more hardware. The 30-year-old downhill skier from Wyoming got engaged today in Italy. Her boyfriend got down on, now fiance. Her fiance got down on one knee and proposed to her near the finish line. The special moment happened about an hour after she unfortunately crashed in the women's Super G. On Sunday, Johnson won the gold medal in downhill as she met her boyfriend, now fiance, Connor Watkins, on a dating app a few years ago.
A gold medal and an engagement in the Olympics. That's not too bad.
That's iconic, honestly. Yeah, congratulations. Thanks for joining us here on 4 Things to Know. With Johnny Connor, I'm Maria Lisignoli. We're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.